The weather today is great. These conditions are ideal for painting and finishing my woodwork. But I'm not going to let that stop me from making progress on my van. There's still plenty I can get done this week. After all, this van ain't going to build itself. Though on days like this, I kind of wish it would. It's a whole week later. The weather did prevent me from making progress on my van. I know, shocking. When it's negative 14 Fahrenheit outside, there's really nothing I can do. This is a heated shop, but it's only big enough for one van at a time. And if I park my friend's carpet van outside and then, the heat exchanger on his extractor cracks, well, I'll probably wear out my welcome around here. So after being cooped up for a week, I am more motivated than ever to get some progress made on this van. I'm ready to move into this thing. I need a home. Wood stove update. I did buy one of them fan things. I got one that clamps to the stovepipe, so it would be up and out of the way. Every one of these on Amazon, the reviews are about 50-50. Everyone says, yeah, they work and the blades turn, but almost everyone else says that it really doesn't move a lot of air at all. So if nothing else, it's, it looks cool and it's entertaining. But it's kind of big, I'm not a huge fan of this huge fan. But we'll see. I got the 6-blade model. So I also bought chimney brush. It's got metal wire bristles, but they're soft. And, it's kind of like a dryer vent brush. It's got you screw all these pieces together so I can clean the pipe. The first thing I'm going to do today is finish this wall. We still got some pink here, And my ultimate goal for the week is to get everything done enough where I can start working on my power system. I'm really anxious to get this van, up and functioning. The power system is kind of the most exciting part of this build, at least for me. And, I'm ready. But up here, what I'm going to do, because I need more storage. The shower's going here, but I'd like to have a little, maybe a medicine cabinet, and then I need somewhere to put my shoes. And my idea was to have some sort of box, cubby type of thing, right here. So I can just grab whatever footwear I need for whatever I'm doing that day on my way out the van. So I think the plan is to take some plywood, cut it the width of this wall, and make it, not too tall. Maybe I'll match the height of the cabinets. And then I'm going to drill holes through the front of the box. And I got some stainless steel 3/8 carriage bolts. And I'm just going to evenly space them, put some seam sealer behind the heads, put them through there, and use that to clamp the plywood on, because there's no supports on this wall. There's really nothing to mount stuff with. And then below that, I'm doing that thin handy panel wall paneling. And then I'm going to paint it. Then over by the shower area, whatever exposed portion of this stuff is there, I'm going to cover with that plastic wall. But I'm not ready to do that yet till I get a shower pan figured out. So that's going to be, soon, but not today. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of throw this on time lapse, because everything that I'm about to do, you guys have already seen me do. I'm just going to be cutting plywood, mounting it to the wall, gluing stuff on, and then I'll update you here when I got some progress. Alright, here's what I've accomplished so far, and it looks terrible at the moment, but I've basically covered this whole wall. And I ran a piece of 3/8 plywood right here. I didn't go all the way across, I decided. And I have 3/8 stainless carriage bolts running through the front of the box with seam sealer behind the heads of them. And they are bolted on. There's also power grab behind that. And then all this ugly stuff here is to brace this handy panel. I used multiple pieces because I had to, and that's to keep it from warping. And I'm going to leave it like this for at least one more day so it doesn't warp while the power grab is curing. And then I'll be able to pull that off, and I'm going to sand the opening so it's nice and smooth and even. And then I'm going to build a box here. I've decided no on the medicine cabinet. I think that would be less functional and overly complicated. So I'm going to build just a shoe box, like a cubby right there. And it's going to look good. And in the back of it and the bottom, and then up this curve to about here, I'm going to have that carpet, the same carpet that I'm going to use in the cabinets. And then over here in the shower area with the plastic wall, I'm going to have that come up and curve over the same way. And then I've been doing all kinds of other miscellaneous stuff. So I got the cabinet faces back off, I hooked my water tank back up, and I secured it. I've got some wood back here, and then I used this like load binder strap that I found like in a parking lot somewhere, with some really robust screws and those same fender washers that I used underneath the wood stove. And then in the front of it, I've got a 2x4 back there, and then I had to put a piece of plywood over that because I couldn't get screws in any other way without removing the water heater, which I can't do now because I siliconed this hose pipe underneath. But that water tank is not going anywhere. I zip tied the wire up for the water heater and got that all neat looking. And then over here I've got some split loom on the wire for my night light, but I have to go buy more 1/2-inch cable straps. What I'm going to do right now is this back wall, I'm going to get some 1/2-inch crown around the edges, and then I'm going to prime all of this. And I decided to prime the bed too, the base of the bed. That way if I do end up getting any kind of mold growth underneath, I'll be able to wipe it off. It won't like stain into the wood. And then I have to put a piece of 1/2-inch crown down here because the corner of this popped out as the power grab was curing when I put that on, because I didn't block it like I did that front wall. This handy panel stuff really likes to warp, so you have to pretty much brace it as best you can until the adhesive cures. And I was gonna like stain and poly the 1/2-inch crown in the corners just to give it a little more detail, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and just paint it to match the wall color, because I have to glue it on, basically. I'm going to use glue and brad nails to hold that on, so it's just going to be easier, and it's really not going to make that big of a difference. I'm doing 1/2-inch crown around the bottom of all the cabinets, at least back here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and just paint that the wall color as well. And then once everything is primed, I'll put the bed frame back together, and then I'm going to paint the walls and do the trim around the window. And then stain and poly all these cabinets. I need to sand them all first because I have wood filler on everything. And then this piece right here, I'm putting some 1-bys that I'm gonna cut to width to match this width and have them come up the sides. I'm building sides for this area here because I'm putting acrylic over the front of that. It's gonna be like a little enclosed wire cabinet basically. And that's the goal, is to get all this other stuff done and get to the point where I can start working on mounting my power system. So that's what I'm doing. All right, we'll hang out in real time now. I know how we all love that royalty-free YouTube music. At least I turned the volume down on it. You know, I try to be considerate. You can apply stain with anything you want. Paintbrush, sponge, whatever. I'm just gonna use a rag. And I got semi-transparent early American. I don't know. I think it'll look good. The fact that I sanded all of this, it's probably gonna soak it in a lot and maybe end up darker than I wanted it to be, which I could go back and lightly sand it after the fact, which would lighten it up. But I think I'm just gonna roll with it. It's gonna look good no matter what. And I'm hoping it just kind of brings the grain out and gives it a nice, you know, not looking like bare pine look. So I am going to start under here. And one thing I considered, because I'm putting like those LED strip lights under here, is I thought about painting this white underneath and then mounting the lights and then putting a piece of acrylic over it, like a frosted diffuser. But I think I'm just gonna go for it and keep it simple. Either way, the van's gonna look pretty good when I'm done. And I'm getting excited about that. I'm only going to do 1 coat of stain, but I'm going to probably do 2 coats of polyurethane. Oh yeah, this isn't bad. Not too shabby. Yeah, I like this color. Here, I'll do the top so you can see what I'm doing. Another reason I'm using a rag is I don't want to drip it all over the damn place. Even though I'm going to be pretty much living in nature, I want the inside of the van to still have like a real earthy feel to it. Very organic, you know. I definitely don't want everything to be like white. Maybe that's because I've just had to remodel so many apartments and see, look at that weird stuff. That's okay. It's all got character, you know. When I remodeled my mom's basement, I used cedar, which is really expensive, by the way, but damn, it smells good. And I stained it with, I gave it like this weathered, like aged look. And it was pretty cool. I want this to have more of a classic, you know, early American look to it. The wood filler is definitely pretty obvious. I might go ahead and stain the insides of the openings too. Oh, I'm just doing the front here to kind of show you guys what it's looking like and to give you a break from all the time lapse. just so much miscellaneous little things. I'll show you what I did over here for where I'm putting the power system in a little more detail there and explain it to you. And I haven't built my shoe box yet. I did pull off all that blocking and stuff I put on there, all that bracing, because it's Monday now. I just got off work, so it's about a day and a half for the power grab to cure. I mean, dry. I keep saying cure, but you know, it just needs to dry. So I put a little piece of plywood right here, 3/8 plywood, and then put 2 blocks of wood behind it to fill in this area. And then I just left it open up top there because, you know, why add any extra weight if I don't need to, you know? Yeah, it's bringing the grain out. It's also bringing the like sawmill kind of stuff out too. I could have sanded that a little better, but I mean, we're using cheap pine and it's gonna look good enough. I like it. It's not too dark at all. I was afraid it would be, but not at all. See, with my mom's basement, when I stained that cedar, I reused the cedar that she had covering the support beam for the house. And it was like that rough sawn cedar, but it was all dirty and filthy, so I sanded it all smooth. But when I went to stain that, it turned out like way darker than the rest of the wood. And to fix that, I went back and sanded it again, like lightly, after the stain dried, and then it matched pretty good. I was pretty happy with it. When I glued this piece to that piece, I didn't get it perfectly lined up here. And I didn't notice at the time. So there's like a little bit of a lip there, and I put wood filler on it, but you know, that could look better. It's okay though. It's not bad. Careful not to spill this can of stain, that would be devastating. The Formica countertops and the vinyl floor and the ceiling can't really get stained, but everything else, you know, be hard to fix that, oopsie. And actually, you know, I know the ceiling's a lot more like orange colored than what I'm doing here, but it doesn't look bad together. It's got a good contrast. Funny story, my ex couldn't stand having like multiple different shades of wood with our furniture in our house. So when we moved into our nicer apartment together, I took this really nice nightstand that I had, real oak, and spray painted it black to match all the like other black furniture we had. And then you could see all the dust all the time. And I had this really nice coffee table that I liked. Well, it wasn't nice. Actually, it wasn't nice at all. But I just really liked it. I just loved that coffee table. And I sold it and got a black one instead to match everything. I hated that black coffee table. It was like too big. Didn't have as good of a drawer. I put this corner trim on here to cover the edge of the plywood, you know. And I did consider doing it all the way around and mitering the corners, and I figured that would be just overkill. Yeah, you can really see where I put the wood filler on this top. You can see that. I mean, it looks good, but this is a little disappointing, this weird dark spot, but let's see what it looks like with stain on it. Rags falling apart. That's not too bad. There's going to be a whole lot going on in here, so a lot of this plywood is going to be covered with electronics. In this little area mounted to the wall, there's going to be my solar controller, the battery monitor, the controller for the inverter. It has a little like remote controller on it. There is going to be the breaker for the solar panels. And then below those things, that'll be on the left. It'll be all power system on the left. And then under that is I have two switch panels for the DC with a total of like, I think 11 switches. And then another dimmer switch for the ceiling lights. And then there'll be like AC 110, 120 switches for shore power and for the water heater. And I did always plan on switching the shore power. Somebody mentioned how dangerous it is if you don't. And yeah, that's true. If somebody opened that little plug on the side of the van and poked their fingers in it, with the inverter on, that'll have 120 volt running through it. So it'd be like, you know, sticking your fingers in an outlet. Plus, if any like metal got in there and for any reason, it would damage my inverter. And then, so power system on the left, and then on the right over here, it's going to be all the like networking and electronics. So I'm going to have my Starlink router. I'm going to have another router. Actually, I already have it. There's going to be the camera server, because I'm going to have a security, like, surveillance system. I already have all these things too, and I'll show them all to you one of these days. So we're gonna have like Wi-Fi router, another router, camera server. I was gonna do a cell booster, but now I'm thinking the Starlink's gonna be just good enough. It's kind of a redundancy to have Starlink and a cell booster, because I can just connect to my Wi-Fi and make my phone work. Look at that grain. That is nice. I like it. And then I was going to do a DC, like automotive style single DIN stereo head, and then have like a speaker in each corner, and then like the rear's somewhere on the other side behind the bed. But I decided that's just too much. So what I'm gonna do is, to the right of this over here is going to be my display, like a TV basically, and I'm just going to get like a Bluetooth sound bar and mount that above it, So underneath the cabinet over to the right will be a sound bar. And that's what I'll use for, you know, my laptop and stuff. So I'm mounting a piece of acrylic over all of this. And the only thing that's too like deep to fit behind the acrylic is the solar charge controller. But it has a like buttons and a display on it anyway. So what I'll have to do is cut the acrylic out. I'm talking about plexiglass here when I say acrylic. I'm gonna buy some pretty thick stuff too, like 1/4 inch thick. Maybe not that thick, but plexiglass is expensive. So I'm gonna have to do a really good job cutting it. But I'm also gonna have a little cutout on the bottom on this side. So when I set my laptop here, I can run the cables for it behind the desk. Have like a really clean looking setup here. And then on the same piece of plywood underneath the desk is all the real guts of the power system. So in the next video, that's what I'll be doing, is wiring this power system up. So I'm gonna have my batteries on, oh, I should have put more filler there. Oops. That's okay. I'm gonna have my batteries mounted to the wheel well. I'm doing those in parallel. And I'll show you how I'm gonna wire them. I already got it figured out. And then up on the wall, close to the batteries, are going to be my like bus bars, my terminal things for all the battery cables. And then I'm gonna have my DC fuse panel down there on the wall. And my DC to DC charger, you know, running off the engine power. Just various breakers. I'm gonna have breakers for all the AC 120 volt stuff. I have a battery cutoff switch. I got a really nice one that kills both the positive and the negative. I'll show you guys that. I'm going to very neatly run all the wiring to everything. And I'm going to make it where the acrylic hinges open. So like all the switches and stuff on this side, I'm going to run the wires in such a way where I can open this whole thing up if I have to get in there and do something with the wiring at any point. And then over on this side, I'll have a couple of like little L brackets with threaded studs coming out of them and some like nice little thumb screws. Also, I might, you know, put some lights in here that I can turn on and off, and possibly a couple of like fans, because these areas are open for cables, but I can also use this as a way to pull heat up and out from the inverter. I think the solar controller probably is going to get pretty hot too. It doesn't really have like fans or a grill on it, but all right, so this thing that worried me so much is barely noticeable, but you can see exactly where I put that wood filler. Oh well. On a lot of RVs, they just kind of hide the power system away, and you know, who wants to look at all that crap anyway? But I don't know, I think it's cool, and the fact that I'm making a full like off-grid power system in this thing, I want to kind of show it off. Maybe I just want to like look at all the expensive stuff that I bought with a credit card. It's like toys, you know. So I'm doing 1 coat of stain on everything, and then I'll do 2 coats of poly. Which is going to take me pretty much the rest of the week, because I'm going to let this sit and dry. all day tomorrow while I'm at work, and then I'll come poly everything. And then Wednesday I'll probably come back and do another coat. The weather is amazing, guys. We had 30 below zero wind chills last week, and right now it's like 60 outside. I got the door open. I'm in a t-shirt. And last week I saw the weather forecast was going to be so good that I requested Friday off, because Friday was supposed to be like 57. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go do something outside and enjoy myself. Looking at the forecast this morning, it's even better. Like Friday's supposed to be almost 70. So I think Thursday night, assuming I got a video done for YouTube, I'm going camping. I'm going to do an overnighter. And I'll film it. I'll probably take the Buick, though, instead of the van. Just because, I don't know. It's just what I feel like doing, honestly. But yeah, I'll make a video of that. I haven't had a Wednesday video. The last time I went camping was October, you know? It's been a long winter. And I have a whole bucket of scraps from building this van that I need to burn anyway. So I already got my firewood. I know I just did like 20 minutes worth of time lapses, but I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, I could sit here and talk all day while I stain this wood, but it's gonna be a while. So as you can see, that took a while, but it turned out really good. As the stain is drying, it's got a more even consistency or appearance to it, and I like it. And I had to do the bottoms of everything, it was really time consuming to do that. I just finished this one, so it's got more of a wet look. I did the insides of the openings. And the bottom. I did this side, and I really like the wood grain on this plywood. I'm going to try to find another piece of this so I can do my cabinet face on the other side. The wood filler spots up here are pretty bad. I used natural wood filler, and it said stainable, and I was hoping if I went with the natural it would blend in, but I got a little strip of plywood here to tie all this together, and then along the wall I'm doing 1/2-inch crown all around over here too. You know, I haven't gotten around to this part yet. Plus I don't know how long to cut it, because I am doing crown mold up there, so I got to get that first. And then wherever there was wood glue, you can really tell it doesn't really soak in the stain. So I think I am going to go back and sand that. And then right here, where I just did today, I'm definitely sanding that part, because that'll be visible through the acrylic. And then I did under here. I'm not done under here yet. I still need to do wood filler and stuff on this and build my drawer face. and determine if I'm going to do the entire underside of this or not, because from over here under the desk, you're going to see this because it's going to be open, and you're going to see the batteries there. Going to have some nice carpet and stuff covering that. But over here, you are going to see like the bottom and the inverter, but there are going to be drawers there. So I don't know how much of that's going to be visible, but I know this whole back wall will be, at least for the most part. DC to DC chargers going over there, and then like my fuse panel and stuff and terminal blocks and all that's going there. So I'll finish all this under here, you know, probably next week when I get around to it. But this all up here is looking pretty good. I'm happy with the color, and it made a huge difference. This is a big day for me and this van. Got a nice payoff here with all these cabinets that I built. I'm really excited to see them with polyurethane on them. Get them all shiny. Then I got to build some doors. I sanded and restained this bit right here, and a little bit under there where the wood glue was. Polyurethane, warm semi-gloss. I'm going to go ahead and apply the poly with a paintbrush. And I'll probably open my windows too, actually. I got the back one open already. Jeez, is the lid freaking glued on or what? There we go. All right. It's kind of runny. Wonder if I need to shake it more. Spontaneous combustion. Stir. Never shake. Oh, oops. Too late. Alright, we're stirring it. Huh, I guess it is just that thin. I just popped this zit like an hour ago, by the way. I see you looking at it. Approaching 40 and I still get acne. I blame genetics. Alright, hope this turns out well. Shiny stuff. Gotta be careful not to drip it, it's real runny, and I'm using a paintbrush. Just gonna do thin coats. And try to keep the bubbles out. I think they just kind of go away as it dries though. The van still reeks like wood stain too. But I just got off work again. It's Tuesday, so it's been sitting closed up, you know, since last night. Yeah, this stuff is like a lot runnier than I remember polyurethane being. Maybe it'll take 3 coats to get the desired finish I want. We'll see. I just want it where I can wipe it clean, you know? Especially this cabinet over here by the stove. Things are going to be splattering. I gotta be careful right here. It's kind of running down behind this corner trim. Catch it before it drips on my... I think we're good. All right. That wood glue kept dripping the other night. I like had to keep coming back and wiping it off. I may have used way too much. I'm pretty good at doing that with glue. I have some of those foam paint brushes, but I didn't want to use those because they tend to like disintegrate if you're using them for an extended amount of time, you know. And some part of me figures that using a brush would make less bubbles. Don't ask me why I think that, but I don't know. Maybe the bristles agitate the product a little better. I'm no expert. I just theorize and speculate on everything, like in general. I'm not doing the inside of the cabinets with anything because I'm probably going to run out of polyurethane already. I only bought a quart, and I mean, what's the point? The inside of the cabinet's just going to get all scratched up and beat up. And I'm covering the bottom with carpet, so it's like if you never see it, why spend the time and money to finish it, you know? I don't know. I clearly have a patience problem. Just so dang anxious to move into this van and hit the road, guys. I'm close, so close. Just a little over 10 months, actually, if all goes as planned. New Year's. I could not imagine doing this while living in the van. You know, all the odors and fumes. Even just painting, you know. Gotta air out the house. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you can really see it good on this side because I got the light from the window coming in. Once I get the van out of the shop and get some natural light in here, really be able to see what's going on. If you're doing this, my suggestion is don't go so crazy with the wood filler. Or maybe use higher quality lumber to begin with. I'm happy with this though. You know, it's not like I'm building a frickin' grand piano or some museum piece here. Since I am using a brush, I'm trying to kind of go with the grain. I don't know if it'll dry smooth or if it'll show the brush strokes. It kind of seems like it's just soaking in over here and it's not gonna matter. If you watch the video where I built this, you know, the one where I was talking about the Titanic and shit, I had to remake this bottom piece because the piece of wood that I originally cut was just so crappy looking. Well, this one ain't too much better. In fact, all of this back here's kind of, I don't know. It's not the best. I was running low on supplies. But I should have like sanded it a lot better than I did, because you can really see just the like lumber mill marks on it. I don't know if their planer needed a new bit that day or what, but it's got like a perforated kind of texture on it. The doors are going to cover most of this. In fact, there's going to be a 1/2 inch overhang all around the doors, so there's really only like the center portion of this and then like the bottom half of that that's going to be visible when the doors are closed. And for those, I'll try to use nicer wood, but it's still pine. And the problem I've been having is the wood that I buy sits in this shop and it's gas heated, and it all dries out so much that when I go to cut it, especially on the table saw, this happened yesterday, the frickin' knots go flying out of it because all the sap is like dried up in it. So it's going to be kind of challenging to build these cabinet doors and have them turn out real good. Obviously, I don't want to switch types of wood at this point. I'm going to go with pine, but I might have to go to the store and try to find some not so knotty pieces, you know. We'll see what happens. I'm sure I'll make it work. I'm just doing the fronts on camera, you know, to show you what I'm doing. And then I still got to do all the bottoms, which really those could only get one coat. I mean, it's just to seal the wood and, you know, make it cleanable. I'm getting really excited for camping Thursday night, guys. I'll be done by the time you see this video, but so next Wednesday, I shouldn't promise you anything because I don't know what's going to happen, but I should have a nice little midweek camping video for you. Probably won't be that exciting, but definitely gonna make a fire and cook some food. Maybe go fishing. I don't know if it's too early for that. We'll see. We'll see. Probably be easier this time of year. I've never been ice fishing. My dad wants to go sometime, but I would think that at this time of the year, the fish would be hungry and probably hanging out towards the surface too, because the water's, you know, cold. And it should be thawed by then. I mean, I am like the world's worst fisherman. Really, it's just the lakes around here are so fished out and overran because it's all close to the city. Yeah, I catch crappie and bluegill all the time, and the occasional bass, but nothing to write home about, you know. I caught like the world's tiniest walleye last year. It was like that big. I plan on doing a lot of fishing, living on the road, you know. Go up in the mountains, catch some trout or some salmon or something. I've never fly fished. I don't know how to do that even. I mean, I get the point, like the concept, but I got the rest of my life to figure it out. All right, I have one coat on everything, and it's really soaking into the plywood. So I'm gonna need at least 2 coats, possibly 3. But it's looking pretty good. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow. I'm gonna let it just dry overnight before I add a second coat. It made the wood look more orangey, which it's okay, you know. Yeah, not bad. I could add a second coat like now, but I don't want to get bubbles. I think letting it dry fully and then just doing another thin coat should be the way to go. But as you can see with the light from the camera, it's got some shine to it. Another thing I forgot to mention for what's going on over here is I'll have the diesel heater control too. And then I'm going to get like a little weather station, at least an indoor-outdoor thermometer, and have the display for that back here too. I might not get like a full-blown weather station with the wind thingy and all that, because then I'd have to set it up like every time I park and take it down for driving. But yeah, that'll be going on back here too, in addition to all the other cool stuff. I keep having issues with my microphones. They're not connecting, so that's frustrating. But I'm gonna get another coat of poly on all of this and then paint my bedroom with the actual wall color, and that's what I'll show you guys next. Hello friends, and welcome back to the joy of painting a van. Today we're going to be putting some beautiful satin green in the bedroom area. And by the time I'm done, you won't be able to see me because I'm wearing green. Today I'm going to be using a 2-inch angle brush and a wet rag for when we have happy accidents. The color we'll be using today is called Pear Cactus. What a fun name for a color. Reminds me of my favorite place, the desert. We'll start by stirring the paint because I bought it months ago. Cactuses are beautiful plants. They're misunderstood. Our little cactus friends, you can't touch them. They like to be admired from a distance. Now apparently you can't use a paintbrush until you just beat the dickens out of it. Like that. First we're going to cut the edges and then we'll roll the middle. There's two ways to go about cutting an edge. First you dip your brush about an inch and then you wipe one side of it clean. Like that. And then you just kind of kiss the wall with the side that you wiped. And then you take the side with the paint on it. And one method is to bend the bristles like so, come up to your edge, and just let the paint fall off the brush. Just like that. And then when you start to run out of paint, you just go back, wipe the bottom edge. Another way to do it is dip your brush the same way, just on one side. And then you come up very gently this way and then just wipe it on, just like that. Just let the paint fall right off the brush. You can use any brush you want. It doesn't have to be a 2-inch angle brush. Just use whatever makes you happy. You don't have to use green either. Green is just my favorite color. It's also the hardest color for a digital camera to capture for some reason. And I'm using 3 different cameras for this shot. So it's probably going to look different at every angle. And that's just fun. I like to have fun. What's your favorite color? Let me know in the comments. I think all the colors are beautiful. I'm really happy to be getting some color on these white walls back here. I don't like plain white walls. They remind me of the asylum that I escaped from. But that can just be our little secret. Painting is fun. It's a nice, relaxing activity. It's very rewarding too. I'm using a satin paint because that's my favorite finish. There's flat, satin, semi-gloss, high gloss, eggshell, which is basically just watered down satin. This paint does not contain lead. I already tasted it. It doesn't taste like a cactus, but it looks like one. After I cut all the edges, I'll use a roller to save time. That way, I'll have more time to go home and cuddle my kitty. I love my kitty. I will have to keep my kitty away from real cactuses when we go to the desert, because I don't want her to get hurt. I wonder how many subscribers I just lost with this bit. Tight little corners like this can be kind of tricky, but you just got to take your time and be patient. If you learn to cut an edge with a brush, then you don't have to spend money on painter's tape. And you can get a better result anyway. We hired this one painter who would tape everything off in the apartment and then bill us for the tape. And then I told him to get bent. I said, "You suck at painting. We're not paying for that. Learn how to use a brush, guy." Painter's tape's expensive. It's like $8 a roll. I think when I go to paint our little snake friends on the outside of the van, I might grow a beard and get a perm. Our little snake friends need some love out there, especially the one that doesn't have a head. Those are garter snakes, so it's likely that he got in a tangle with the lawnmower. That's usually what happens. Poor little fella. I can paint with both hands, but I do have more control with the left. I think the green and the wood grain have a pretty good contrast. I like it. It's very organic. Earthy. Natural. Warm. Cozy. Okay, now that we've cut the edges with the brush, we can roll the middle. I'm just using a cheap roller cover because I don't want to clean it. I'm just going to throw it away when I'm done. Just pour a little paint in the tray, not too much. Get a nice even saturation in the roller cover. And now we'll just roll it on. Isn't that beautiful? We're just giving the paint a ride home. The paint wants to live on the wall, not in the can. We're just giving it an Uber ride home from the airport. You can roll first and then cut later. There are no rules when you're painting your van. Just do it however makes you happy. Whatever way works best for you. Painting doesn't have to be hard. Just practice a little and have fun with it. You can see how it dries darker. That is a beautiful color. Now I'll do this wall. Every time I've had to paint an apartment at my job and I was working with another guy, I would say, "I'll roll, you cut," because it's a lot easier. And now I'll do this wall. That's a nice little wall. Now he gets to be green, just like his other wall friends. Okay, friends, I'm going to let this paint dry and then put a second coat on, and then I'll come talk to you. Well, can you see me? I got 3 coats of poly on the cabinets. I have enough left in the can to do one more, or I might save it for the doors and stuff. We'll see. As you're watching this video, I'll be working on the van. Prior to that, I'm going camping Thursday night into Friday. It's supposed to be really windy now, so we'll see if I have a fire or not, but I'm going either way. Clearly, I need it for my mental health. Special thanks to HR, Rick, Anita, Bill, Rob, Donna, Brian, and Gina for joining my Patreon. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hopefully the next video is a good one. I appreciate you guys watching. Sorry I missed you last week. I'll try to not do that to you again. And take care, everyone. Have a great week.